Everyone talks about investing in real estate, but what most people don't realize is that where you invest, it matters just as much as what you buy. And right now, there's one market that continuously pops up in investor conversations, and that's St. Louis. So in this video, I'm going to break down why investors are targeting the St. Louis market, what makes it attractive, and what you need to know before you invest here. Hi, I'm Delia Worley. I'm a local realtor here in the St. Louis metro area. And before I got into real estate, I was an accountant. So I tend to look at real estate a little differently. I like to focus heavily on the numbers and not just the property itself. And that's exactly how I'm going to walk you through this today. Over the last several years, St. Louis market has quietly become one of the most attractive markets for real estate investors. And the biggest reason comes down to one simple thing: affordability. Compared to markets like California, Texas, some parts of Florida, you can still buy properties here at a price point that actually makes sense. In a lot of major cities, home prices have gone up so much that it makes it nearly impossible to buy rental properties that cash flow. But St. Louis is different. Here you can still find properties in the $150,000 to $300,000 price range and rents that support that price point. And that gap between purchase price and rent is what investors care about, because that's what creates cash flow. Now, not every investor is looking for the same thing. Some people are focused on appreciation, so they are interested more in the value increasing over the years. And while other investors are focused on cash flow, meaning they want monthly income. And St. Louis tends to lean more towards cash flow market, especially compared to those coastal cities. Another reason investors are drawn to the St. Louis market is strong rental demand. There are a lot of renters in the St. Louis area, including young professionals, families, relocations, military, and those who simply are not ready to buy. And that creates consistent demand for rental properties. Now, what's interesting about the St. Louis market is it attracts many different types of investors. You have local investors building rental portfolios, out-of-state investors looking for better returns, and newer investors who are looking to get started with their real estate investing journey. And depending on your strategy, you can approach this in many different ways. But I do want to be very clear about something. Not every property in St. Louis is a good investment. In fact, most of them aren't. And this is where a lot of new investors can make the mistakes. They assume that just because a property is affordable, it must be a good deal. And that's not always true. And this is where the numbers matter. When I work with investors, we're not just looking at the price of the property. We're going to analyze estimated rents, expenses, maintenance, vacancy, and long-term performance, because that's what actually determines whether a deal makes sense. And this is also where being local really makes a difference, because St. Louis is not a one-size-fits-all market. Different neighborhoods perform very differently when it comes to rental demand, tenant quality, appreciation, and long-term value. So in future videos, I'm actually going to break down the numbers, different properties in the St. Louis area. I'll show you how to analyze deals, what numbers to look at, and whether I would personally buy or not. But if you're already thinking about investing in the St. Louis area and you want help finding properties or analyzing deals before you get started, that's something I want to help you with. So feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help run the numbers and analyze a deal with you. So if you're thinking about getting started with real estate investing in the St. Louis area, put in the comments and let's have a conversation to see if we're a good fit in working together. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe because I'm going to be posting weekly videos to give breakdowns on different properties and what the numbers actually look like. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.